it's over. It's Jova for the Overwatch League. It's kind of official now, so I'm going to just show you some of the reporting about that, because obviously it's the guy that's kind of been reporting on the Overwatch League pretty much since it started, telling everybody, avoid this like the plague. It's probably the last video we get to do on the Overwatch League, guys. It's like sort of a fucking really sad day. Just as a little bit of background before we start looking at the news itself. What happened, if you haven't been following it, was there's a Microsoft deal going through with Activision Blizzard that's had to jump through a bunch of hoops to sort of even get to it. They've had to make some concessions and agreement, particularly around cloud gaming has been a big stumbling block as they look to get all the governments of the world they're going to operate in sort of agree to it. So it's dragged out, but of course money will prevail and they will get what they want. And Bobby Kotick is going to be out of a job, but he'll still be one of the wealthiest dudes like fucking in the world, and probably walk into another job at a media company or something insane. But anyway, the bottom line is that the Activision Blizzard esports pruning continues. And so one of the strategies they put in place was, we are going to offer you $6 million to fuck off for all of the team owners that originally bought in. Now, keep in mind, this comes after a long list of failures, which was teams said they were going to exit and they need more money to operate. So Activision Blizzard, during the pandemic, helped them with those PPP loans. And so that was a thing, and then now we still want to go, and we're not really making the money. And sort of they said, wait for Overwatch 2. Then Overwatch 2 came out, and it was just dog shit, and there was no content there, and it didn't help anything, and it didn't recapture anyone's imagination to watch the game. And then it was like, well, okay, you can maybe move your teams to like China and play with like a skeleton crew over here for a while we figure out what we're going to do with the league. All the while the format's changing, blah, blah, blah. And it just got to the end, and basically the teams just said, no, like, this has been a joke. And when you keep in mind that they did defer payments, so the 20 mil buy-ins, and the 25s and the 30s, they didn't pay all of that, but they did pay a lot. And plus the operational costs have absolutely wrecked them the entire time and haven't been a good investment. So what did we do amid a buyout and probably a restructuring of esports and how it all works? Well, this is what we do. We fucking offer you some money not to sue us. I am utterly convinced the only reason Activision Blizzard went to each of these teams with $6 million to exit from the league was to basically, don't sue us because we did sell you a bill of goods. And now that this is over, I'm actually going to do a commentary on why I think it was a complete fucking joke. I don't know if I'll do it in video or writing, but like the writing takes so much time that I might just do a video on it. But I've cut out from the original Morgan Stanley document, the original pitch for the investment, essentially. I've cut out all the funniest bits. And so understand that there would have been a case there, in my opinion. I mean, I'm not a lawyer, but what do I fucking know? But anyway, they got paid $6 million, and they were told, you got to have a vote, and if it's 2/3 people vote to exit, then we do it and everyone gets paid. And so basically the option was, you can vote to stay in the Overwatch League with a brand that isn't yours, in a game that no one plays, running an esport no one watches, or you can have $6 million in your bank account by lunchtime. Really? Well, it's a fucking tough one, guys. Fucking hell. So obviously, they voted to fucking exit. And I got told because I still talked to a few people over in Overwatch, been busy, moving house, all that shit. So I talked to a few people over there, and they told me, like, no one I talked to said they were voting to stay. And so here we go with James Fudge over at the Esports Advocate. Teams vote to exit the Overwatch League in the least surprising headline of 2023. The Esports Advocate has learned that a majority of teams have voted to leave the Overwatch League, though official paperwork, a final agreement with Activision Blizzard regarding the previously announced termination of its team participation agreement in the Overwatch League, has not been submitted to the league by all franchisees. The announcement came from Overactive Media, which was the first revealing that the Overwatch League as a franchise league was over. According to a source at Activision Blizzard, the dissolution of the current league required 2/3 of franchisees to vote to leave and take a previously announced $6 million USD payout. A spokesperson for Overactive Media confirmed with the Esports Advocate this afternoon that the vote was held and the league team participation agreement has been terminated. An Activision Blizzard spokesperson declined to comment on specifics relating to negotiations between the league and team owners this morning, again pointing us to a statement the company made earlier this year concerning the future of the Overwatch League, which was, with the conclusion of the 2023 Overwatch League season, we will be focusing on building our vision of a revitalized esports program. We're eager to share more with you as details are finalized. We're going to get to that in a bit. Of course, this is not the end of Overwatch League. Reports have suggested the league will be run by a third-party tournament operator in 2024. Now, just before we move on, there's a lot of interesting stuff that comes from this. The first part is, one of the things in the original reporting me and Jacob Wolf did, like, it's very rare. I got asked a really good question on Twitter. I almost want to put it in the video. Maybe I will put it in the video. I got asked a really good question. It's like, usually Twitter's just like, why do you hate Saudi? And oh, fucking hell. Like, so, it relates to this. And obviously, every time, and, you know, these decisions are collective, so I don't know what's going on here. But every time these decisions get made, it's not Activision Blizzard that get the first word in. It's not some owners fucking group putting out a statement. It's not a group. It's not like a legal team that it's not Sheridan's or whoever they hired. It's not them. No, it's Overactive Media every time. They always seem to be the ones that go first. I don't understand why. I don't know if it's just because they've just got no more fucks to give. But they're always the ones who announce it. And so they put the statement out. They said, we confirm our exit from the Overwatch League. The company is set for its next chapter with a strengthened financial position and continued commitment to esports. We expect more information to come, re our vision for Toronto Defiant and our plans to return to Overwatch esports soon. Right? And so, there was actually a good question. Because, if you remember, when me and Jacob Wolf did all the original reporting around the contracts, you know, he did some stuff, I did some stuff. I announced some of the original buyers. I think he gained access to one of the agreement sheets. I got the Morgan Stanley report. You know, we were really in the weeds on this shit. And I got asked this question. It's a good one. So thank you for this. Avid Cute or Avid Cule. How can they keep the Toronto Defiant brand? From what I understood from Richard Lewis reports, is the orgs didn't own it. Blizzard did, and it was just licensed. It's also a potential risk if something was to happen down the line, since they have skins and stuff in the game itself. It's a really good fucking question. The original agreement, which, again, I know the reporting was bulletproof on this, the original agreements explicitly said that you couldn't bring in an original brand. You had to run a brand on Activision Blizzard's behalf. The brands that you were running, the franchise names, you had some input on them, but ultimately they were going to be predetermined and sort of pre-assigned with their own color schemes and themes, right? And so you were told that when you sold the franchise, the name, the brand, went back to Activision Blizzard to run. That was what everybody agreed to. Now, when Toronto Defiant or Overactive Media say, we want to know about the future of Toronto Defiant, technically, if you exit the league, how it's always been understood up until this point is that brand isn't meant to exist anymore. Activision Blizzard take that back. They can maybe use it for some other thing, but I don't know. But Jacob chimed in and, made a good point, which I suppose it's just true, right? Like, he said, at this point, I'd assume everything Richard and I have reported in the past is void. Certainly correct at the time, but now I think it's such a mess that all the rules no longer matter. And I just wonder, and this is why I wish Sheridan's or some team owner spokesperson would just put a clear statement out, because what is happening to these brands? What is happening to these brands? Are you keeping them? Why? Why Activision Blizzard letting you do that? What is the upside? So I do want to know what's going on there, because it just seems to me to be a huge shift. And here's the other question. Why would I want to do it necessarily? Why would I want to juggle all these brands? Maybe it makes sense for Overactive Media, but, remember, London Spitfire was like Cloud9, so why would I not just want to be Cloud9 again? One of the big stumbling blocks All of these orgs, when they bought in, were like, we don't get to use our brands. And so what's the upside of that? So very bizarre. So a very good question. And I got to be honest, I don't have the answer. I'm going to try and find out, but I don't know. I mean, people are super cagey about all of this, which again makes me think there's like a, sort of legal agreement in there. Yiska Out is another journalist that I don't mention a lot, but he does good work, and he's kind of like one of the Overwatch guys. He's over at GG Recon, and they managed to get an exclusive here, which is they confirm that they are transitioning from the Overwatch League. And it says here, the Overwatch League could officially be over in a statement given to GG Recon. We are transitioning from the Overwatch League and evolving competitive Overwatch in a new direction. We are grateful to everyone who made Overwatch League possible and remain focused on building our vision of a revitalized esports program. We are excited to share details with you all in the near future. Now, this is where it gets super interesting, because I 100% called this one. Right, first of all, yes, the league was always going to fail, right? Like, just 100%, like, going to fail. Called that way back when, 2016, 2017, whatever the fuck. There was no way it could succeed. And all the people who say, oh, the pandemic is what derailed it, it was already in a terminal decline before the pandemic. The pandemic extended it. Gave people excuses. It stopped a disastrous system being implemented, which would have absolutely fucking destroyed it. It's fucking ridiculous. So there's nothing in the narrative about the pandemic killing the league. The league is 100% would have ended up the same way. It just would have happened quicker. So who's going to take over? Because obviously Activision Blizzard, or as it will be, Microsoft, or Activision Blizzard under Microsoft, they do want to keep like an open tournament circuit running. So there's still going to be Overwatch competitions. Now, what are those Overwatch competitions going to be? We don't know. What's the format going to be? We don't know. Who's going to be entering them? We don't know. But if you look here in the report, you can see for yourself, of course, it is expected that Blizzard Entertainment will work with the third-party tournament organisers ESL Faceit Group and WDG Esports to plan the future of the Overwatch esports ecosystem. WDG are the people that do the Asian esports output, I think primarily South Korean. But anyway, ESL Faceit Group. So, the world's wokest game, right, ever made, I don't even like that word, remember it's blasé, but that is what it's been labelled, is now going to be wholly under the control of the Saudi Arabian state. And that's super interesting. I do believe as well, didn't the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia just win the Overwatch World Cup? Did that just happen the other day? So lots of interest from the Saudis in the game, so we've just had BlizzCon. So what's going to happen here then? Do you think? All of those characters that you all love, that are all canonically gay and trans and non-binary, guess where they're not going to be canonically gay, trans and non-binary? Guess what type of content that you all love isn't going to be created anymore? Right? Oh yeah, it's all gone now, because your game has been took over by Saudi. So you got a big moral quandary, haven't you, Overwatch fans? We'll all have a look. We'll all see. You were attacking people like me and Monte Cristo and saying we were like alt-right and all these other fucking absolute provably false claims, downvoting all my stuff despite all the committed work I've done. We want to see the rule book. Richard Lewis gets you the rule book. Downvote the rule book. Fuck Richard Lewis. All right, okay. I mean, shit, man. We want to know who's buying the slots. Here's a list of people who are buying the slots. Fuck you, Richard Lewis, right? So now we're going to see. Now you're going to put your money where your mouth is, aren't you? Right? You can have, I won't even call it shooty bang bang. It's more like wibbly wobbly split splotch, isn't it? Right? You can have your wibbly wobbly split splotch video game, can't you? But just know what the cost it comes with. That all those characters you love, Tracer, ain't gay in Saudi. Sorry. Soldier 76, he's definitely not gay in Saudi, 100%. So I just don't know how you're going to rationalize this in your minds. Now, I'm also so devastated because one of the funniest things I've seen, and I can't show it on Twitch because Twitch is a fucking platform for children. I'm just trying to find the tweet so I can sort of describe it. So, there's a guy called Adam Adamu, and he is one of the co-founders over at Overactive Media, and he's been part of like Mad Lions, and they have Toronto Defiant, Toronto Ultra, all that stuff. And he put a tweet out saying, "Thanks for the memories, onwards into the future." And it's an AI piece of art. It's an AI piece of art, right? And it's a guy on the left, and he's got the Overwatch logo on the back and a hat that says owl, and a girl on the right, and she's holding what looks like a cycling helmet, and they're holding hands, and they're walking off into the sunset, and above it says Overwatch, and they're walking through what looks like a sort of pile of discarded toys. Now, it was created by AI, and so we all know how AI works. AI goes out onto the internet and it pulls all this shit, and then it sort of combobulates it together with the brief, and it does it in a relatively rapid time. So what do we associate with Overwatch, right? Not great gameplay, obviously, not a successful esport, obviously, not great character design and world building. No, it's basically Overwatch is just Tumblr sex weirdos, and it's the first line of defense for when Activision Blizzard are in a scandal. Just make a character gay. Do you love us now? Spoiler, we will be rescinding that character's gayness in Turkey. So that's pretty much the only function Overwatch serves. It's just for creeps, weirdos, and Activision Blizzard. So anyway, the AI went out and just did what the AI did, and that is, it takes all the things associated with Overwatch and it makes them, and it put them in a picture, right? And you scan the picture, and in the bottom left, because obviously, as I've always said, it is a game for losers and sex weirdos, there's just a pile of penises. There's just a pile. Now, I don't know if they're severed penises or if they are dildos, like them ones you on the fucking table, and it stands there and like waves at you. One of them ones. It looks like that, right? And there's another one behind it. There's like a circumcised penis with balls, and then there looks to be there's a I think it has a foreskin pointing down and you can't see the balls, and then there's one between it in the background which just looks like it's just a chode, basically. It's just a fucking chode, yeah. So it's got what I'm trying to say is there's obviously a dick for everyone in Overwatch, isn't there? Because of the Tumblr sex weirdos. It hasn't just made the same dick. I know this seems like a weird detail to get hung up on, right? But it didn't just have one type of penis replicated. It had a bunch of different penises, right? Including a chode, right? So that is just the perfect fucking send-off. The rest of the piles, it's like there's a smashed computer monitor, there's a smashed robot, and then just a pile of dicks. So, I don't know what to say, right? But I honestly can't think of a better... Like, a lot of people were like, flaming him. They were going, "Oh, you've just got 6 million and you couldn't even make a nice video or a nice memory. You used an AI." I can honestly think of no better send-off for your shit video game for you weirdos than that. A pile of knobs. A happy couple walking away from a shit video game and a pile of knobs soon to be behind them. There's no more appropriate farewell to the fucking Overwatch League than that, in my opinion. And hashtag all knobs matter. You covered all of the bases. There's cut, uncut, thin, fat, big, balls, no balls. What a fantastic tribute to the Overwatch League. I give it to you. So don't be mad at Adam. Don't be mad at the AI. It's no less than you deserve. So it's over. The Overwatch League is over. Another one in the Richard Lewis was right column. That column's as fat as that fucking chode in the corner. So